Welcome to the TheSlamDuncan YouTube channel. This is Duncan White bringing you another video. And first, before I get into any part of this video, first I want to apologize to everybody. 2 weeks ago, I got really sick, and just now, I'm really just starting to get back to 100%. So I apologize for not uploading at all for the last 3 weeks. And I will be getting back into making more videos and posting more regularly. So for this video, make sure you leave a like on this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more NBA content, and also follow me on Twitter at Duncan_White14. And so for this video, because I haven't done a video in a while, I'm just going to be going over the Bulls, obviously, because, they're my team, and I just want to kind of go over what's been happening really since the All-Star break. Let's get into this. So first off, I want to talk about the Otto Porter trade, because I did not make a video on that. If you looked at my Twitter, my initial reaction to the Otto Porter trade was very, very bad. I did not like it. I thought it was a very bad job at the front office, and let me explain. So, I actually made a video on this, but I just didn't post it because I knew that I'm going to be screwing myself if I did post it, and it's a good thing I didn't. Basically, what I was thinking initially when the Otto Porter trade happened was that the Bulls traded Bobby Portis, who I loved. I loved Bobby Portis, and Jabari Parker, who we needed to get off the team, and a second-round pick for Otto Porter Jr., who, don't get me wrong, I think Otto Porter Jr. is a great player. I think he's a great 3-and-D player. I think he's perfect and could fit into any system just very easily. My issue was that we're trading Bobby Portis, and secondly, the Wizards really needed to get off that contract. The Wizards actually needed to get rid of Otto Porter because they were going to be stuck if they didn't trade Otto Porter at the trade deadline or in the offseason. And they really needed the money to sign Thomas Satoransky to an extension because John Wall's out with the Achilles injury. So I thought if you're the Bulls, you use that as leverage, that you'd be like, we'll give you Jabari Parker's contract, and you'll get out of the Otto Porter deal. Just then give us something else in return. And the Bulls didn't do that. The Bulls didn't get another pick in return. Instead, they gave up a second-round pick. So just the way that I thought the front office handled that was very poorly. I did not like what Gar Forman and John Paxson did there in the trade. I thought they could have gotten more, especially because I think the Bulls had the leverage and the Wizards were really just trying to get rid of the contract. But it did not work out like that, and unfortunately, we had to give up Bobby Portis, who, yes, was in line for an extension this offseason, but I thought, the Bulls, one of the main things that was being successful for the Bulls this season was their bench scoring, and a big part of it was Bobby Portis. And if you look at the bench scoring right now, especially since the All-Star break, and while the Bulls have been playing very well, the bench scoring is almost non-existent. It's just there's no one really to score off the bench. So that's where I think the Bulls, they need to figure out where they can get some bench scoring, and that's going to have to come this offseason in free agency or potentially trading something else to get a draft pick that you think then you can pick a player that would be a solid bench piece off the bench. So that's my thoughts on Al Porter trade just at that moment. But as I've been watching the Bulls since the All-Star break, Otto Porter is fitting in perfectly with Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen, and I think it's a perfect fit, to be honest. I still think, though, the front office could have gotten more from that deal, but don't get me wrong, I think the front office did a good job of getting a guy who fits in perfectly with the system, and it's going to be spectacular having those three guys leading the team moving forward into the future. Second thing I want to hit is Jim Boylen. And this is where I'm all over the place right now. Ever since Jim Boylen took over, you heard me initially when he took over, I had a bunch of praise for him. And then I had some big doubts. I was all over the place. And now, as the Bulls have gone on since the All-Star break and started winning some games, especially in the last 7 games, it's been very, very good for what I've been seeing. So basically, to describe what I've been thinking of Jim Boylen for the season has just been a roller coaster, just a roller coaster of emotions. Um, Here's what I ultimately think though, because Jim Boylen was a coach under the Greg Popovich system. I think it's good for the Bulls to keep him, and I don't want to be paying 3 head coaches next season. So I mean, if the Bulls, I just think it's best for the Bulls to keep him, especially now that you're really seeing what I think Jim Boylen is trying to build here, as the head coach. Um, when Jim Boylen took over initially, after Hoiberg was fired, the first thing that everyone was going off about was this whole practice thing. You know, I'm not gonna get into that. I think though that I seriously think that some NBA players don't practice enough, but that's just my opinion. And I was actually a big fan of the whole practice thing. Not necessarily like the big heavy like drills, but just practicing helps build chemistry. It's like you need to practice. It's important. But forget about that. But the main thing that I was really seeing was the slow it down offense. Like everybody like slow the ball down. We're not gonna be run and gun team. We're gonna slow it down. We're gonna get a good shot. Use all 24 seconds. And I think a lot of people criticize Boylen because they're like, well, this is a young team. They have young legs. They need to run and go. While I agree with that, what I think Boylen was really trying to like explain to the team was, first you need to understand my offense that we're gonna be running, which you guys don't know that. So we gotta make sure we get the sets properly. Secondly, your Hoy ball style of offense of running the fast break, get quick shots, shoot a bunch of threes. You guys really didn't understand how to actually run an offense. So we're gonna break it back down to the basics and make sure you understand the basics. And then you guys are going to be able to start running out on a fast break, getting easy layups, getting easy dunks, getting wide open 3-point shots, and shooting the ball a lot more. So what I think Boylen was really seeing was that under Hoiberg, the players didn't really know how to run a fast break. The players didn't know how to fill the lanes properly. The players didn't know how to run an offense properly, and that's mostly on Hoiberg. When Boylen took over, he's like, okay, you know what? I see a lot of flaws right now. Hoiberg did a bad job with this. Hoiberg didn't really teach these guys how to run a fast break. We're going to break it back down to the basics. We're going to start all over. We're going to make sure that every single player knows how to run a fast break. And then once he feels comfortable that the team can run a fast break, he'll let them go, which he's done now. And once the team gets more comfortable in his offensive system that he's implementing, then you're going to see a lot more actions, a lot more movement, a lot like a different like false actions to get better open shots, and also emphasize on like 2 players, aka Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen. So I'm going to say as of right now, just due to the recent performance by the Bulls, which they've won a good amount of their last games, which I've been happy about, is you got to keep Boylen because another head coaching change is going to screw up the entire culture that's been built from basically just when Boylen took over. And I think the culture that's being built is very good for the Bulls, and just seeing Markkanen and LaVine grow up, and just knowing that you have 2 young superstars in the making is just perfect. And I think Boylen can really help this team build that culture. So now moving on to the players and looking towards the future. So the Bulls just beat the 76ers tonight. I'm recording this Wednesday. So I think it was a great win. It just shows, though, again, Zach LaVine is going to be one of the main cornerstones. And the last 8 games that Markkanen has played, and he's been on an absolute tear, and he's also shown he's going to be one of the cornerstones. So if there's anything we got out of this season, at least we know that Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen are the 2 cornerstones. They're going to be the superstars for this team. Now, finding the other guys, though, that are going to be a part of this Bulls future is going to be a little bit more difficult. You traded for Otto Porter, and he's there. He's staying, and I think he fits perfectly in between LaVine and Markkanen. 3-and-D guy, stretches the defense, plays great defense, could play the 3 or the 4. Perfect. Then you have Wendell Carter Jr., who I think is obviously also another keeper because he can play center. I think he's going to play more power forward next season, which I'm going to like to see that. But obviously he's going to anchor the defense, be the interior defender, block shots and set good screens, and also can stretch the floor with. And what I really want to see more from him next season, as he gets stronger, is more post ups from him, and that's going to be really effective with Markkanen at the 4 and him at the 5, and he can post up and either shoot over guys, or I definitely want to see like hook shots or potentially in the post spin. Like, I want to see more moves from him in the post because he's very capable of doing that. And then off the bench, really, I think Arcidiacono's a keeper. I mean, that has been an absolute find for the Bulls, and I've been so happy to see Arcidiacono come from just being a two-way contract player to now a legitimate backup point guard in this league, just due to pure hustle, pure grit and grind, and it's just awesome to see him out there on the court with the Bulls. And I've been saying that he kind of reminds me of Kirk Heinrich. Now, the biggest thing for the Bulls right now, or I think there are two things really, to be honest, for player-wise. One is the point guard position, and earlier this season I've been saying that I think Chris Dunn fits perfectly because he doesn't always need the ball to be effective because he's a defensive first type of guy. For the Bulls to take the next step, though, I was clearly wrong with that. The Bulls need to figure out this point guard position because Chris Dunn, I don't think he's going to be the point guard of the future. One thing that the Bulls need to understand, though, before they just move on from Chris Dunn, is that they need to find a point guard that has the ability to just let Zach LaVine do his thing. Zach LaVine's going to handle the ball at least half the game, really. So we need to get a point guard that allows Zach LaVine to be Zach LaVine and not take away shots from him or possessions from him or his playmaking ability. So really, though, like a perfect fit would be like Steph Curry, but you obviously can't get Steph Curry. But I'm saying that for a guy to play alongside Zach LaVine at the point guard position, he needs to have the ability to be effective off the ball. Obviously, he needs to have the normal point guard skills of playmaking, make sure to run the offense, get the assists, and all that. But also, for specifically this Bulls team, when you have LaVine and Markkanen out there, who are your two superstars, they need the ball. The point guard position, whoever's playing there also has to have the ability to be effective off the ball. So in this upcoming draft, I know a lot of people are looking at Jean Morant, and then the newest person that's really come up in this draft is Darius Garland. That's going to be really interesting to kind of see where the Bulls go. I think the Bulls will absolutely 100%, if they get the 4th pick a point guard. I'm just not really sure who. Well, I am intrigued by Morant. He's not, again, that fantastic of a shooter, and I expect the Phoenix Suns, if they don't get the 1st overall pick, to pick him. So I don't want to put my hopes onto Morant. I think Darius Garland's definitely interesting. I'm a little worried though with him because I think having him and LaVine at both guard positions defensively, it's not going to be too great. So the Bulls really need to figure that out, the point guard position. And maybe Chris Dunn, though, in the next 15 games can show that he should still be the point guard of the future. But at this point, I think the Bulls need to move on from Chris Dunn from being the point guard of the future. I think he could come off the bench and have a very effective role, but as point guard of the future, the starting point guard, I'm not seeing it right now. And then secondly, for the Bulls, that they need to work on is their bench. The Bulls, like I said, trading Bobby Portis away has been, it really hurt the Bulls. I mean, that's at least 14 points, usually more, and 8 rebounds off your bench. Just take that away. It's like, man, when LaVine or Markkanen goes out, it's hard to keep up with your level of scoring. So the Bulls need to go, find a backup big man, because Cristiano Felicio, anytime he gets minutes, it's horrible. It's hard to watch. He got 5 minutes tonight, and I was like, man, this just can't continue. And Jim Boylen even realized it. And so in the second half, he put Markkanen in to start the 4th quarter instead of Felicio. So the Bulls need to find a backup big man to play the both 4 and 5 position. So I'm looking at Taj Gibson because he's already been in Chicago, but just really anyone that could give solid minutes at the backup big man position. Like I said, I like Arcidiacono, so I hope he stays on the team. And I think like someone like Chandler Hutchison, once he gets back, is gonna definitely help the Bulls bench. But the Bulls do need another wing player, like someone that can also handle the ball, but also play defense. So someone that can really spark the Bulls on both sides of the floor to come off the bench and help control the tempo of the game. So that's where I think the Bulls really need to look at moving forward. Not necessarily this offseason. I mean, this offseason, I think you definitely need to get a good backup big man. But looking forward, though, just try to improve your bench because I think your starting lineup is basically set besides that point guard position. So overall, I think, if you can't tell, I'm excited to see how the Bulls are doing. I know a lot of people are on a tank train and everything, but I would much rather see the Bulls get wins, even like it's not intentional, but just get wins just due to the fact that they're playing well, that they're building good culture, they're building a winning culture, knowing that you're going to have that coming into the next season and for the next 10 years with LaVine and Markkanen running the show. And then now you know like what type of players do I need to go get in the draft or free agency or trades to help build around our two superstars of LaVine and Markkanen. So I've loved this, that I'm seeing how the Bulls are going to look in the future in the last like 10 or so games, and it's good to see. So I have high hopes, and hopefully Garth Foreman and John Paxson, who I didn't really talk about in this video, hopefully they can make the right decisions moving forward. I'm going to trust Doug Collins, who's an advisor for the Bulls, to help make the right decisions because I'm still a little skeptical of Garth Foreman and John Paxson with their decisions. So with that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you leave a like on this video. Subscribe to my channel for more NBA content. Also follow me on Twitter at Duncan_White14. This has been Duncan White, signing off for now.